shout out to the Supreme Court. Something that I will never say frequently on these airwaves, because it's the Supreme Court is full of white nationalists. But in a court decision today, they sided against Andy Warhol's foundation in a dispute on whether the late artist, and I'm putting up air quotes because I don't consider him an artist. I don't even put him in the category of Edison. I just feel like he's like whack. But he became, because he hung out with cool people. Everyone, how like everyone tells you somebody's cool. It's like being in the studio, which I used to be a lot because I would do, these books with these artists, and everyone would be like, that album is good. And everyone would be pretending. And I'd sit there, it's like, y'all listening to the same thing. This sucks. Nobody's going to say anything. Okay. And then it flops. And I was like, nobody said anything. Everybody was lying. I feel like that's how we got Andy Warhol. But anyway, he had he was using Prince's image on a silk screen, and he claimed that it fell under fair use, under the fair use doctrine, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And you know how egregious this was to take Prince's image and create that, the classic Warhol ripoff of, with the faces and the 4 boxes. That 7-2. Cedar, 7-2. That's how egregious it was. And I want to know who the 2 dissenters were. It had to be Clarence Thomas and Alito. I'm sure. I'm positive it probably was. I haven't looked, but 7-2. Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Sotomayor wrote the decision. And she said, let me see. What did she say? She said, in Lynn Goldsmith, this is an image that rock and roll photographer Lynn Goldsmith, she actually filed a lawsuit because that's her picture. Justice Sotomayor wrote, Lynn Goldsmith's original work, like those of other photographers, are entitled to copyright protection, even against famous artists. And I'm putting up air quotes around artists as it relates to Warhol. This is good. Is this hope that maybe the Supreme Court could?
Kagan and Roberts were dissenting.
Are you serious? Elena Kagan?
Yeah.
That's wild. So you're telling me Sonia Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Clarence Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh all voted the same way?
Yeah, Justice Sotomayor, Justice Kagan's opinion, Justice Sotomayor wrote, was made up of a series of misstatements and exaggerations from the dissent's very first sentence to its very last.
Oh, wow. This is interesting.
Fair use is a really interesting place to kind of where the political lines really don't matter. It's really just how you view and fair use. There's 4 big categories where you can, define how you're using is a commercial use. How much did you change it? That's the one thing I think with this is that they don't think it's the exact same picture.
He just made different colors. That's all he does.
And so the majority opinion was if they allowed this, it could allow for a series of recreations and replicas to be done throughout photography and throughout art, where the person is just doing slight alterations and calling it their own. And so,
we're seeing that with AI, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a preemptive decision, because they're going to be getting a whole lot of AI. Because right now in one of these programs, they allow you to go and create art, but it's all other artists' work already there that you can manipulate.
It's all trained on stuff. And, the general argument is that all art is derivative of something previous. So question is, how much did you change it? How much of your own artistic sense did? So what you would do is there's a prompt when you use these AI art engines, right? These image engines. How long is your prompt? Did you feed it other images to influence what it was going to do? Were those images copyrighted by someone else? Did you take a picture of David Lynch, the famous director? We're working on a thing that's in the vein of David Lynch right now at our company. Did you just take one shot of David Lynch and then recreate it shot for shot, the colors, the textures, the angles, the lighting? Or was it just influencing what you were doing? And you're going to see text prompts that could be 1 sentence or 20 sentences with different attributes. And that's where you're going to see, is it a fair use or not?
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep paying attention to that.
I love this stuff. I'm glad you brought this up. I didn't know this happened.
Yeah. Shout out to the Supreme Court. You will rarely hear me say that on these airwaves. 7-2, and it wasn't Alito and Clarence
Yeah.
Thomas, which this is wild. So